Welcome back, everybody, to another episode of the Bad Moon's Orbit. I am, as always, your CRE craftsman, Dalton Montgomery.
And I'm Darian Smart, and it's my birthday.
Ooh.
Well, it's not my birthday. It was my birthday.
Yes.
Last episode, I'm not familiar with our release schedule. I thought that episode was coming out in January, and thus all the New Year's talk I prompted. Had I known it was coming out literally on my birthday, I would have just said, it's my birthday. So now today gets to be my birthday.
Yeah.
Today gets to be my in-podcast fiction birthday.
Yes.
Hello, everyone. Wish me happy birthday. If you want, no big deal.
Happy.
And share pictures of your current mini work in progresses.
Yes.
That's what I want for my birthday. I want to see all of the pictures of what you're painting right now. Thank you.
Absolutely. Happy late podcast birthday, Darian.
Thank you.
Today we are back talking about Lumineth Realm Lords once again.
Part 2!
Part 2. If you haven't listened to part 1, that's where we talked about the broad scope, broad picture, Lumineth stuff, culture, what they've been doing, the kind of changes that have happened since the Spirefall and the Elementary Temples. So that was all exciting. But today we're getting a little bit more specific. We're going to be talking about the Great Nations of Hysh, all of the different slices of that pie and how they've responded to things specifically. And we're going to be talking about our famous faces, and oh boy, are there a bunch of them in Lumineth.
Let's go!
Lots of famous faces in Lumineth. But before we get into that, Darian, do you have a game thing you'd like to talk about today?
Yeah, okay. I want to talk about a board game that I bought for my birthday last year.
Hell yeah.
And then it came in August, and then it took me forever to actually play it. But we played it a couple times, and it's called A Place for All My Books.
Yes.
And it's just a very chill book organizing and gathering type. It's like resource type.
Yeah, it's a little Lords of Waterdeep is probably the biggest game I'd point to, but it's different from that because it's got an element of like organizational like placement stuff to it, which I've enjoyed it quite a bit the times we've played
fun.
it.
Now I've lost every time I've played. Dalton's very good at games, and I'm very good at being delighted that I get to pick little wooden book pieces and put them into piles. But it's fun. I supported it on Kickstarter, and it must have done incredibly well because I've seen it all over the place now.
Yes.
So good for them, for real, for real. If you have the opportunity to play A Place for All My Books, it's super fun. And if you're a book girly, and anybody can be a girly, this is not a gendered identity, it's just a vibe, highly recommend. You could also, if you wanted to, spring for the deluxe version, in which the game box just looks like a fancy-ass book, and so then it can go on your bookshelf.
Yeah.
And that is also great.
Fits right in with the other books. Big fan. Yeah. I've enjoyed playing it quite a bit. I got really lucky last game. That was
That was New Year's night, New Year's Eve night, and everyone was tired.
Yeah, it's true.
Were we playing that at midnight? Like,
Yeah.
is that? Yeah.
Yeah,
That's
we
when
had to pause in
rolled
the
over
middle.
New
We had to
Year.
pause in the middle of someone's turn to pour champagne.
Happy
Yeah.
New Year! Hooray! All right, no. See, I thought I had done well, and then Rebecca, our friend we were playing with, was like, "Oh, you're also supposed to. All of the books you accumulated also count as individual points." And then I went from being like a solid second place to nah. Which is how I've placed every time we play this game. But it's okay, because I won at Sabotage earlier.
Yeah.
I guess a broader one would have been like, we played board games for New Year's Eve, and it was great.
Yeah, that was a ton of fun. Big fan of all that.
Yeah.
Oh, big shake.
But it's the end of February now, so no more talking about New Year's.
Yeah. I think this one's coming out on the 12th, so mid-February vibes.
Weekly or every other week?
Every other week. No, yeah. So it's
The 19th.
the 19th.
I know that. When I said I don't know a release schedule, I do know when episodes come out. I just don't know when we're back from hiatus.
Yeah, I've been having some good games recently. By the time you're hearing this episode, I'll have been playing in our local league that I and a fellow player are hosting.
That's so awesome.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a ton of fun. It's a nice alternative for people too, because we try and run little one-day tournaments and stuff as well for people to come out and get some games. But if you're just doing something over one day, then you lose out on people who can't make that day or don't want to be doing it for 12 hours of straight Warhammer games or any number of other reasons. And so doing the league format, I'm really excited. It seems like already we have a good turnout on that, and it's going to be fun. Yeah. Very excited about that. Speaking of Warhammer, that's not a transition. Speaking of Warhammer is the whole podcast. Yep. Let's talk about more Lumineth stuff.
More Lumineth stuff.
So coming off of last episode, like I said, we were talking about the elementary temples as a kind of a nice spread throughout all of Lumineth society, right? We have Zenith, Wind, River, and Mountain, right? The different temples.
I do remember that. I do, in fact, remember that. I'm still mad about it, gang. It's ridiculous. No justification for that behavior.
So something that we're going to see when we start talking about the... So like I said, the first part of today's episode, we're going to be talking about the Great Nations of Hysh.
Constellation. You also could have called it Constellation. Yeah. I don't know. Thought of another one.
Yeah. Zenith is intentionally vague. It's intentionally mysterious for right now. And it's unclear how much of that is intentional mystery because like, we only know of one spirit from there and it's the big important one. And how much of it is just, we haven't gotten into it yet. Right.
Listen, the name is no excuse. And
yeah.
I stand by
That's
that.
fair.
But
That's
I understand
fair.
you're going to convince me to like Teclis in this episode. So maybe
maybe, potentially.
I won't really be standing by anything anymore.
We're going to be talking about Teclis in the context of what has happened since. A little bit of a if not redemptive, at least, like, everyone deserves a chance to do better, right?
Yep. Okay.
But before that, let's talk about the Great Nations. So what I was leading to is we're going to see the elementary temples woven into the fabric of the Great Nations. Like some nations favor one temple over the other, often because of their own like terrain.
That makes sense.
But generally, every nation is going to have every temple represented. It's not particularly different than any other kind of like religious, like pan-religious like thing, with the added thing that like the elementary temples aren't in conflict. It's not like it's not like the mountain temples are beefing with the river temples. They're all like
they're all
synchronous.
They're all friends.
Yeah, they're all
vibes.
doing the same stuff through different lenses. Yeah. But let's start with the first one. This is one of the big ones. Well, they're all big ones, but this is one of the ones that has a bigger lore background. So something we're going to see as well when we're talking about the Great Nations. Two of them just don't have very much info about them yet. They just haven't been fleshed out in lore yet. So we're saving those towards basically the end. Also, I'm going to say it at the top of this episode, I guessed wrong because I didn't check my notes. Last episode, I was like, one of the nations is the center where like non-elves lives, and the other one is the outside that's like barren and desolate. And I guessed that Zentil was the outside border one that's desolate, and Hyxia was the interior one that has other people living on it. And no, it's just reversed.
Okay.
So Zentil is the center one where other people live, and Hyxia is the desolate perimeter nation.
Okay.
That's just blasted wastelands. No one can live there for any length of time.
Magic too crazy.
Yep, magic too crazy.
Magic too wild.
Nothing grows there. Just bad.
No good. Don't live there.
Yeah. Talking about our nations, we'll start with Ymetrica. Ymetrica is one of the Great Nations, and also we're just going to cover them as groups based on who they're associated with. Each of the nations is either a Tyrannic or Teclian nation, and Ymetrica is a Teclian nation.
Okay.
So Teclian nations broadly academic, philosophical, pursuit of knowledge, that kind of vibe. And Ymetrica specifically is the origin nation of the first Alarith temples. So those are our mountain temples. Ymetrica is a huge like string of mountain ranges, very like similar to the landscape we have here in Idaho, if we're being real.
Geologically significant hugs, yes.
Yes, yeah. Big livable mountain valleys in between very impressive peaks. Ymetrica was the first place where those elementary mages connected with the mountains, learned to bond with them, learned to comfort them, and build that reputation following the Spire fall. Ymetrica broadly has a philosophy of asceticism.
What does that word mean?
Asceticism is like a reduction of want. You tend to think of like a lot of Buddhist traditions tend to be ascetic.
Okay.
Some like older like Christian traditions can be ascetic as well. It's the like monks we tend to think of as ascetic, where it's like removal from want, removal from like want and desire as a means of spiritual connection.
Okay.
Want not, meditate on the mountain, earn the world's trust, and march to war when necessary is Ymetrica. Ymetrica is one of the big military nations of Hysh. All of the nations practice military stuff
You
in
have
some
to.
capacity.
Chaos demons are knocking at your door all the time.
Yeah. The world is bad, but of the Teklian nations, especially Ymetrica is renowned for its military prowess. They kind of spearheaded the not only like the Alarith temples, but also the Alarith temple's reputation for like, yes, all of our like members of the temple are going to be trained in the arts of war. They're going to bring that famous Alarith resilience to the battlefield. Yeah, the actual lands of Ymetrica both contain both the most and the highest peaks, which leads to interesting, again, in much the same way that here in Idaho in the more mountainous regions, you'll have like these little conclaves of like clustered like cities and stuff. Like Boise and the Boise metro area is just dug into a valley right here, basically. And then there's a whole shitload of nothing. A couple of directions until you get to the other big like population centers. You see that across Ymetrica as well. It doesn't have any one kind of central like city. It does, but none of them are like big and important enough in comparison to like the other nations, like big cities. Everyone's just kind of their own little conclave, and that plays into the asceticism thing. It plays into the self-reliance thing, the like going up to the mountain to meditate thing. Everyone feels okay just being like that, where everyone's their own little pocket. Which also has like defensive advantages, right?
Yeah.
Where like chaos demons can come in and overwhelm one conclave of Ymetrica, and all the rest are fine. They didn't lose important like.
They're like self-sustaining.
Yes. Yeah. Absolutely. Absolutely. Like I say, Ymetrica is one of the earlier ones we learned about, so we have some famous characters from there that we'll talk about in a little bit. But generally, it's the mountain region where the mountain temples originated from.
What? Mountain region where the mountain temples originated from.
Yes. Next one is Sayar. So we talked about Sayar actually a little bit in the previous episode because I think they're really interesting. We talked about when we were talking about our like what does like national identity look like amongst the Lumineth. So Sayar is the craft nation. It's the expert craftspeople.
This is where you can't really live in that. Like you can live in that spot, but is that the one where the magic wants to hunt you?
Yep.
Yep.
Yeah. Sayar's CR or Sayar. I haven't heard it said out loud. SYAR. I know the people from there are called Sayari.
Okay.
So SYARI.
Sure.
So Sayar, presumably. But yes, it said that there's no trinket, like no magical artifice that a Sayari craftsman couldn't create given the right materials and time, right? Just very skilled. They learn craftsworks from people outside the Lumineth, people outside like Elvenkind specifically. They hold like a huge like World's Fair style
that's super
thing.
cool.
Yeah. In their big capital city, Aranaskath.
Yes.
Cool.
Yeah, that sounded right.
Aranaskath is the Sayari capital. It's one of the few places that's safe from all that like wild magic nuclear fallout, basically, right? And every year they hold the great like Sayari Crafts Festival where people from all like nations and cultures and planes are invited to come demonstrate the height of their like technical prowess and stuff. So they have Caradron. Oh, they have a cool name. The big floating cities that Caradron build will just like fly down over the city and like hover in the air above to like send their delegation down to show off the latest Dowry craftworks.
Dang.
People from the cities of Sigmar and some of the other elven like conclaves, the Sylvaneth, the tree people also have a tradition of like craftsworks and stuff, and so they'll show their.
That's cool.
Yeah, right. All the Sylvaneth stuff's neat because they have a tradition of craftsworks, but they integrate like the natural world and stuff. This isn't a Sylvaneth episode, but anyone looking at a Sylvaneth model, note how the blade on like Tree Lord's sword is still forged. It's still like very obviously metal, but the handle is woven. Like they just grew the handle into it.
Cool.
Stuff like that. And so, yeah, all these people from these different nations, these different planes, these different cultures coming to show off the latest in their innovations and stuff. And it's one part like collaboration and sharing of knowledge, but also a little bit of that elven pride. The CRA want to show off like we invited you all to our World's Fair and here's our cool new thing.
Look at this
so
cool
you
thing
all
we
know
made.
that that we're cool. Within CRA culture, form and function are quote equal virtues. So what that means in this context is that the CRA make nothing that has no purpose, right? Like everything that they create has a functional use. But they do not truck with the kind of brutalist, like the only reason this exists as function. It should also look nice.
Mm-hmm.
Like, those things are held in equal accord. So the CR would never make like purely decorative things, but anything that they make that works also looks nice.
Yeah, okay.
They think that helps to temper them somewhat against the like extremes of like further and further making something more and more like dangerous, or more and more like the kind of thing that they fell into during the Spirefall.
Yeah.
Right? So yeah, speaking about CR during the Spirefall, we talked about this a little bit last episode, but they were one of the nations that suffered the most during the Spirefall. They made many of those great like magical weapons of mass destruction, a little bit Jurassic Park, right? Like, never stop to think if they should.
Just if they could.
Just if they could. And so, bulk of lands are inhospitable magical wastelands, stalked by living spells of raw magic. And so, Sayar has the smallest permanent population of all the great nations of Hysh as a result.
That makes sense, yeah.
Yep. If you're born to CR, you might stay and learn craftsworks. You also might not, because it kind of sucks to live there a lot of the time. And then to be like born outside of CR and to train and have the skill to go there to learn is seen as a great prestigious thing.
Yeah.
Right.
Like, you're that good. It's impressive.
Yeah, absolutely. It is unclear. I'd like to believe that it's also unclear in universe. I like to think that nobody is for sure, because it's not the point. But there's a note in the book that's unclear whether CR started the Spirefall or if they were just one of the consequences, right? Like, no one really knows who, quote unquote, fired the first shot, right? Like, first turned on their fellow elves out of their like pride and like whatnot. And I like the idea of that being an unknown in universe as well, because that's not the point.
Yeah,
like
doesn't matter.
The person who fired the first shot was everybody, because
The whole system had been set up for this
Yes.
to be inevitable.
yes, absolutely. But despite that, the CR, like I said, their techniques, their inventions, their creations caused untold damage, and so as a rule, the CR do not make weapons.
I can see that, yeah.
Yeah,
That makes sense.
Rather, for a long time, they did not make weapons, period. It was like an explicitly outlawed thing.
Yeah.
And now they will like made to order like individual weapons for
Okay.
great causes. You basically have
Okay.
to go before the CR and argue your case for why something is necessary. And then they will make one of them for you. So that if something goes bad with it, they know whose fault it is.
On you, yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
It's a very, and even that is a stance that they only reached after like Teclis personally like talked them into it, because the potential harm of chaos was so great.
Yeah, because that tracks. There is a sort of responsibility when, especially when you're like, this group has this skill to offer this specific service
Yes.
in a time of need. And it's like, yeah, you don't make weapons anymore because of the harm these weapons caused. And then you start to, that might be variated, like pacifism can also be violence. If
I
there's
mean-
like the refusal to participate in any
Yeah.
form, does not necessarily make you immune or like safe from the consequences.
It's classic trolley problem, right? When does inaction become a form of harm?
Yes,
Right.
that's exactly
Yeah.
it.
You could choose to do this, and by choosing not to do it, it is kind of your
And it's
fault
still
what
a
comes
choice.
from
it.
it. Yes.
Yeah, it is an action.
Yes, absolutely. But yeah, like I said, Teclis kind of talked them into their current stance of that, like, okay, we'll offer our like aid in this specific thing when it is necessary. But beyond that, even though they do not make weapons as a matter of course, they do make armor, they make fortifications, they make magical like protections and charms and trinkets and all that kind of thing. When CR itself like marches to war, you can always tell them apart from their peers, because their armor is masterfully crafted and like half the weight of everybody else's.
I'm sure.
Right? Like just perfect constructions that sometimes has the book notes that occasionally has like a weird trick effect on their opponents, where, so jump to a Discworld reference, you know, the bit in when Vimes is talking about cops in Ankh-Morpork, and he's like, you can always tell who doesn't do their job because their armor's nice.
Yeah.
Sometimes they have that effect on enemies where it's like, oh, look at those guys in like the super fancy stuff, they must be the like officer corps or whatever.
Yeah,
I bet they'd be
they're
easy
not.
to fight, and then it's not,
No.
because it's also just the best stuff. Like,
Yeah.
that CR, like I said, I like CR a lot because of that dichotomy, the recognition of the bad thing that they did, and both the initial like, we're not going to stop doing that bad, or we're not going to stop doing the thing that we do because that would also not like be a good outcome, but we will temper like how we do it.
Yeah,
because
we
that
don't do
that
it
should
just because
be
we can do it.
Yeah. The next nation is Ilitha,
Okay.
if I'm saying that right. Iliatha. Ilitha.
Yeah, Elitha.
Elitha.
That sounds, yeah.
Yeah. Also a Teklian nation. Like I said, we're just going to cover the 4 Teklian nations.
And then we'll,
one after another.
Perfect.
I have parentheses cool and parentheses complicated in my notes. Ilitha is a matriarchal nation.
Oh.
Cool. But it's because it's the nation of life and birth and kind of like vaguely like femme-coded stuff, which complicated. Because on one hand, it's like, oh no, did we give the birth like nation to the ladies? But on the other hand, it's bigger than just, I have written in my notes, it's bigger than just like woman equals babies.
Yeah.
Ilathia is all of the Lumineth nations are in some part, because one of the things the Teclis did with both the Idoneth and the Lumineth, especially pre-Spirefall, is communicate to them stories of the old high elves of Ulthuan, right? Especially with the Idoneth, and then slightly less with the Lumineth. Teclis's first instinct in the mortal realms was not to plant seeds and let these like new cultures foster. It was to make Ulthuan again. It was just to recreate the thing that he knew and loved fresh in this new world. And so some of what we see in the Lumineth is carrying forward those traditions that Teclis imparted to them, but having them develop in ways that are unique to the Lumineth because of like just cultural shift and they're different people. Yeah. And so Ilathia is a continuation of the High Elven tradition of the Everqueen.
Yeah.
Right? We talked about that in earlier episodes. The Everqueen was the oldest ruler of like High Elven society. Her counterpart in the Phoenix King was a later addition, as like an almost administrative thing, where the Everqueen was always the like spiritual kind of de facto leader of the elves, and the Phoenix King came later as like a government position. But the Everqueen is traditionally the keeper of wild placers, the ensurer of like the sanctity of life and the protection of life and stewardship over nature.
Yeah.
And so Ilathia is matriarchal in part because they revere Alariel as like the last Everqueen.
Yeah.
Even though Alariel herself does not like do much with the elves anymore.
Yeah, she's over here on...
Yeah, she's in Gyran.
Yeah, thank you, Gyran. She's over here being a nature goddess.
Yes. More even than that, Alariel doesn't view herself as an elf anymore. Like, she doesn't see elves as, like, her people in any meaningful way. But the people of Ilathia still see Alariel as, like, the last true Everqueen. The current Everqueen, even if she's not fulfilling any kind of, like, government role for them, they still revere her as a goddess, even, like, worshiping her only just slightly below Teclis and Tyrion, is what it says. Yeah. So that's the matriarchal part. They worship Alariel, and also they continue because even in olden times on Ulthuan, Alariel, the mortal woman during the end times, was the queen of the chunk of Ulthuan that was also like a long-standing matriarchy that had like dryad groves and stuff growing in it and whatnot. Kind of the connection point between like high elf and wood elf societies in the old world. So, yeah.
Cool.
We talked about this a little bit in the Hish episode previously, but I got some facts wrong, so I'm happy to have read more and written better notes for this part of it.
Hooray!
Alathia's big thing is that like preservation and continuation of the Lumineth, nature broadly, but the Lumineth specifically.
Okay.
Elves always have had kids slow. That's just one of their things. They're elves. Yep. And so Ilathia is always looking into the like keeping infant mortality down, keeping like fighting diseases and protecting.
They're big on vaccines.
Yeah,
they really adhere to those vaccine schedules. Yeah.
Just all of those sometimes like unglorious things that you do to maintain a baseline, right?
Yeah.
But they're still Lumineth,
yeah,
right? And so they're prone to that like puzzle solving that can get you in situations. So the big thing that Ilathia is famous for is the creations of what are called simulacra.
Okay.
A simulacra is a magical clone of a person.
Why?
Because more elves.
Oh no.
Uh-huh. You see where I'm going. It is literally just that like almost tech broian instinct of like, hold up, our goal is to have there be more elves. What if we put our resources into cloning people?
That's
Yeah,
crazy.
right?
It's like, no, I think y'all should just open a nice bottle of wine
Right.
more often, light some candles. Feels like that's the other
There are
solution.
other ways to do this.
Yeah.
So simulacra specifically.
Or if the problem is like we don't tend to have kids very often, they're like, okay, fertility, like IVF stuff, like
magic,
hey,
yes,
non-magic humans figured out systems to aid in this area. I bet y'all could do it too with like common sense oversight, and regulations.
I think it's the implication I get is that it's kind of a mix of factors for why this is the direction they went, where like they were doing those things, but as that became a more complex thing, right? Rather than spending more resources and spending more research for smaller returns, they went this route. But also, like I said, that kind of element of, because this simulacra was a thing that happened pre-Spirefall. This is part of Alathia's contribution to the Spirefall, is this like huge magical research and stuff. And it was also partially spurred by, because a simulacra isn't just a clone in the way we tend to think of them in like a sci-fi sense, where it's just like, okay, you share all the genetics, but you're like a unique like person. Yeah. Simulacra are kind of unique persons, but how a simulacra is made is that elf in particular makes like a second physical vessel that their own soul is then like split between.
What?
Yes. So both these people have the same soul.
Is this not... Hey, isn't like not full souls the fucking problem that Ideneth have?
Yes.
Oh no.
So generally simulacra tend to be pretty stable. Stuff can go wrong with them, obviously. And like soul magic's always going to be profane on some level.
Yeah, don't do that.
Right. But once they had figured out how to do that, like I said, you can see the dual forces there of like, okay, like fertility magic and like all these other things are getting harder and harder to do. And then once you've done all of them, you're waiting who knows how many months. I don't know how long gestational period for elves is. I didn't look that up. You're waiting however many months to have a kid, and then that kid's taking however many years to grow up, and then you have no idea how they're going to come out, right? Whereas this, I can make a simulacra in an afternoon, and it's me. So
you know that your tech bro comparison is real spot on.
They give me that vibe.
That is absolutely the vibe.
And not only I could make a simulacra in an afternoon, I could make a dozen simulacra.
How small can you split your fucking soul into?
Apparently a lot, because it's also not that, it's not like you have like one glass that is you and then you're pouring it into different glasses. Okay. It's more that you're like sticking like tubes in between all these glasses. So it's not, you're not splitting off your soul. You all just share one big web of soul, right?
Okay.
Simulacra that get too far from their original tend to get like screwy because of that, like all sorts of situations. The next bullet point in my notes is obviously this went bad.
Oh, good. I'm really glad it did go bad.
So pre-Spirefall, no longer needing to work alongside.
To clarify that statement, I mean, I'm glad it has already gone to the this is going to go bad, and now we get to hear about that, and not that this thing will obviously eventually go bad, but we're just still waiting for that penny to drop.
Yep. So not only like dangerous magic, splitting your soul multiple times is dangerous, creating all these clones is dangerous, any form of excess is going to like crack the way open for Slaanesh. All of the normal supernatural reasons why this is bad, but also the very like grounded human reason why this is bad, elvish reason why this is bad, that the people who tended to do this the most often were the researchers working on this kind of thing, and making that a simplified decision where you are a researcher and you are working on something and you have decided that the best way to get like the more staff, the more researchers for a project is to just make simulacra of yourself that share your like mind, share your proclivities, share your instincts, means that very quickly we have everyone who's working with these very dangerous magical systems doesn't have like dissenting voices.
Yeah.
Like they don't have
Everyone's a yes man.
Yeah. There's none of the like base conflict required for you to be safer, for you to consider things that are outside your own lived experiences.
Yeah.
And that leads to these techniques getting more dangerous and more like dangerous experiments going on, both from the level of like the unaware or the like uncare or like non-careful people who just like accidentally led themselves down a route by surrounding themselves with yes men that are literally themselves. But also on the level of like, hey, maybe you're an Alathian researcher who's always wanted to do like try some fucked up experiments, but you knew you couldn't do it alone and you like didn't know how you would broach it with like other researchers.
Yeah.
Now you don't have to. Now you can have 15 of yourself like
now
immediately and start doing those like fucked up experiments.
Yeah.
Yeah. Basically all of that eventually culminates in like bad, like profane experiments being done with like souls and like this kind of research, and just too many simulacra existing at one time, like making the like fabric of the world weak in these places in the same way that those huge WMDs of like magic in Syar were doing that.
Yeah.
All that eventually culminates into like Alathia having a huge incursion of like Slaneshi demons. They're one of the places where Slanesh broke in like the most powerfully. They still have huge enclaves of like Slaneshi demons just like destroying parts of Alathia, and the like necessary comeuppance for Alathia to not, because we see the same thing that happened with Syar, right? Where they don't throw the whole thing out. They just try and be more careful going forward.
Okay.
So post Spirefall, Alathia still makes simulacra, but they have changed their philosophy about it. Basically, first off, having more than one simulacra of yourself is strictly illegal. It is like a high crime. It's treasonous against the nations of Hysh, and so you don't do that. Don't do that anymore. Like that tamps down on a lot of the risk towards you and of like magic stuff going bad. Yes, exactly. And beyond that, on like a social level, many places in Alathia and beyond, simulacra are looked upon with suspicion just broadly anyways.
For sure.
Yeah, absolutely. Like having a simulacra or being a simulacra is something that is seen as potentially irresponsible. It's very... There's a whole...
Well, yes, clearly, because it was.
Yeah, absolutely. There's a whole cast of Alathian like researchers and stuff who pride themselves on not making simulacra, of like working in teams without the added help.
Yeah.
And while it's not, like I said, it's not illegal to have a simulacra, there's still plenty of like Alathians who do so. They do so under that understanding that it is a thing might like put a target on their back, at least like socially, right? Those people who do still use simulacra or like condone the use of simulacra or... see the benefit in them, have also changed their philosophy regarding them.
Okay.
Pre-Spirefall, simulacra were seen as an extension of yourself. It was just putting yourself in more places at once. Still the same individual, still doing their own thing, or still doing the things that you want to do. But post-Spirefall, people who make a simulacra tend to treat it more like a sibling, more like a something that is based off of you, that is similar to you in many ways, but is allowed to be its own person.
Okay.
And that, like I said, that can get complicated if simulacra get too far from like their original. They can get a little bit wonky because of the like distance trying to like spread that soul around. But for the most part, that seems to work and seems to help temper some of the worst instincts that simulacra create, both like socially and magically.
Interesting. Right? Okay.
Because if a simulacra is its own person, then they are more likely to be willing to disagree, more willing to seek out their own knowledge and bring that to whatever is being worked on. And crucially, and probably a part of the reason why simulacra weren't outright banned, is also their military application. Because Alathia's military is renowned for its like simulacrum regiments. Where you get, a regiment of archers that is 10 people, each with one simulacra, who like knock and reload and fire their bows in perfect harmony, right? The knowledge...
It's always military.
Yeah, I was gonna say, if not for that, and again, that's a little bit what we see with Syar as well, right? It's like, this is a thing that maybe in different times there would not have been the allowance for this to continue.
Mm-hmm.
But in this time,
The
so
chaos
it goes.
demons are right
yeah,
here. Yep.
exactly. We do what we have to. That's Elathia. Again, I like Elathia again for the same reason I like Sayar, because we see the complexity of when you have done something wrong, but there are still problems to fix.
Yeah.
Right, and how you try and square the negative instincts that, because I like it because it grounds the magical aspects of it a little bit. Most of the sins of Elathia aren't necessarily that they did magic in a wrong way. It's that they allowed doing that magic in that way to like screw with their like social and philosophical like minds. And then our last Teklian nation, Zytrek.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, Zytrek is our magic nation.
More than the others?
Yes.
Okay.
All of, like I said, all Lumineth practice some magic,
Yeah.
because elves and Teklian nations are the magical of the like two halves, and Zytrek is the magical nation amongst the Teklian nations.
The most magic.
Yes, they are the, like I said, because Ymetrica kind of pioneered like elementary temples, which is a magic thing, and Sayar does the artificing, which is a magic thing, and Elathia does the simulacra, which is a magic thing, and Zytrek is the like galaxy brain, shape of the universe, like raw essence of magic. Like if the other nations are religious philosophy, bioscience, and engineering, then Zytrek is pure physics. It's unraveling the secrets of the universe stuff.
Okay, that's pretty cool.
Yeah. All Lumineth are good at magic, but Zytrek are the ones who are good at magic for Lumineth. They're winning the gold medal at the Olympics is the metaphor I have here,
okay.
right?
Yep,
Like
that makes
it's honor
sense.
just to be invited, and these are the good ones who win.
Yep.
Zytreki mages as common course study all schools of magic, and not just all Lumineth schools of magic, all schools of magic. They do the Sayar thing where they invite mages from traditions that the elves wouldn't normally have access to in order to study, even if they can't do that magic because of some quirk of how it like interacts with the world.
Yeah.
They still want to know the mechanics of how it functions.
Knowing how the magic works is the important part of it.
Yes. So all the baseline chill stuff like fire magic and beast magic and light magic, obviously, shadows and heavenly magic, etc. Stuff that often gets like frowned upon both in fantasy settings and in this world, right? Like all Zytreki mages are trained in necromancy.
Of course.
Right? Even though that's like, that's Nagash's thing. Like, you got to know it. You have to understand the weapons of the enemy. Even on the level of, we have stuff pointing to, like, we talked in the Cruel Boys episode about Cruel Boys wizards, right?
Yeah, I was gonna ask about like orcs and goblins.
Yeah, like the submerged in the swamp, like drawing power from the pure potential of something to break and whatnot. Like Lumineth, often sometimes like political prisoners, like grilling them over how their magic works. Like there's not a lot of orcs who would be like, yes, I would love to go to a place where I'm not allowed to break anything and like talk for long periods of time. But occasionally, like, there are just like orcs who will go like talk to the Lumineth about how their magic works, which always frustrates the Lumineth because it doesn't work like how they think it should. Because orcish magic it's cunning, but it breaks the rules because it's sourced from Gorka Borka. There are not even quite exceptions, but just still ones that they want to know about, but that they would never condone the use of. Right?
Interesting.
Because there are Zytreki mages who will do necromancy. There are Zytreki mages who will try to, even if they can't like properly do it, try and do like orcish magics and stuff. But the ones that they do not allow under any circumstances are the pure expressions of chaos sorcery.
Yeah, no, don't do that.
Yep, because all magic is chaos, right? Like that's just a fundamental nature of magic thing. But like the magic done by Tzeentchian cultists, right, is pure unchanneled like chaos. It's change for change's own sake, right? Slaneshi magic is just about the bombast, about the experiential like excess, and so because it's so uncontrollable, you just can't like practice it. You're opening the door for chaos unallowed. And then just a super weird one, in my opinion. I think that this must be like some setup that we had at some point that I just like don't have the proper context for. The other one they're not allowed to practice is magic associated with the bad moon.
I was wondering. I was sitting here wondering, what about the bad moon? Like, hey, I wonder what about that though.
Yes.
Actually, someone tell me about that.
Yes. So yeah, orcish magics, absolutely. The lore of the weird is Ironjaw magic, and the lore of the swamp is Cruel Boy's magic. But the lore of I play this army. The lore of the dank is the lore of magic governing like the bad moon and the things associated with it. They can learn about to better like combat it, but they cannot practice.
I
think it's probably for a similar reason, because it is like a destruction sourced magic. They don't want to call the bad moon onto them. I think it's part of the thing with like Ymetrec's also the most connected to like the zenith temples. Like they revere the sky, they like seek knowledge in like the stars and their patterns and formations, and so they don't like the mean celestial body or like so they just don't want the attention of the bad moon.
Thing that they're not really sure what it is.
Yeah. I know they have a little bit of beef with one of the big Gloomspite Gits clans, so that's also probably part of it. The Shadowweb clan, I want to say, they're a Spiderfang clan that lives on Hish, whose thing is that they live around a realm gate that connects to Ulgu, and they keep their spiders on the Ulgu side. And so the silk that they spin gives off shadows. And so they weave these huge nets out of spider silk. And then when they fight Lumineth, they launch the nets up into the air and it just blots out the sun. So now we're fighting in the dark, and goblins are better at that. So that might be part of it. Like I said, it's probably like a celestial body thing. And it's probably like I could see it being like an early edition thing where it's like, oh, we're setting these two up as like matched like rivals that's faded a little bit into the background as the Lumineth have developed more, I would guess, because nowadays I'd say their rivals are just chaos and broadly like death factions, because Teclis and Nagash had that big fight. The Ymetrica maybe also have a particular love of Selenar, Teclis's friend, the moon spirit.
Of course.
Like I said,
they were the zenith
yes
type.
They revere the stars. They seek great knowledge, great truths in like the cosmic space, the deep like learnings and understandings of the world. We mentioned this last episode, but Ymetrica is the most loved nation of Teclis, because Teclis is also like a big brain like magic boy, secrets of the universe. And he is consistently miffed that he loves to go hang out in Ymetrica and talk all the latest like magical philosophies and stuff. But mostly people want to talk to Seladar about it. Of
course they do.
Yeah, because he's the moon spirit, and Teclis is the god of magic. But we have a moon spirit. Like, we could talk to Teclis whenever. We should talk to the moon spirit. Well, just get it straight from the source. We're talking to the moon spirit.
This is what we want to know.
And it like I said, he never lets it show. The thing the book talks about is he never lets it show to the people of Ymetrica, but Tyrion can always tell because he's his brother, right? And that's fun. That's a bit of fun characterizations. Like, I can tell that you're upset by this because we are brothers. But that's Ymetrica. They, like I said, they're doing the Cyanar thing where they're studying all the lords of magic. They spend a lot of time like contemplating the secrets of the universe, trying to dispel more and more pure forms of like magical understanding and potential, and like filter those learnings out to the other like nations of Hish to broaden their scopes. Ymetrica is a nation of scholars and universities and that kind of stuff. To the point that like a pure like Ymetrica military force is like a very uncommon thing, because it's learned scholars and whatnot, but almost always there will be like a Ymetrica scholar in the military forces of other like Hishian nations.
That makes sense.
You
want
wouldn't
someone who's like super duper good at magic.
Occasionally they have Venari, the like Lumineth cast for military stuff, obviously, like, who guard the nation, and occasionally they'll fight fights with them and stuff, but not their main job. They're the university staff, right? But those are the Teclian nations. Like I said, that's one side of Hish. They're all just kind of clustered together. And I like that. Like I said, one of the things I really appreciate about the Lumineth is that they are always finding unique ways to express a similar idea, right? Because like you start from big idea like light elves, and then you go to like, okay, so they're split into the like bookish like Teclian nations and the adventurous Tyranic nations. And then you can split down even further. Like, yeah, there's lots of ways to be intelligent and philosophical and scholarly.
Yeah.
And these are like lots of them. And I think that's...
Yeah, it's a really interesting way to approach it.
We have 2 Tyrannic nations that we know stuff about, and 2 that we just haven't gotten much lore development
Jesus,
on yet.
why?
Yeah, right. It's
There's
worth...
only 8, and you gave us all 4 of the Teklian ones.
We started with the Teklian nations. Like, the Tyrannic nations have always had less info about them because we also just don't super know what Tyrion's doing still.
Crazy.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's worth noting that the Lumineth are also like newer as far as factions go. Like I said, I think they came out around the same time as like Gloomspite Gets, which was like late 2nd edition. So, yeah, there's only been a couple of factions that have come out after them, and so
I guess I'm just so not used to this being like a living in progress lore, and not like this is what we do. Like if we sat down and talked about the lore of like the Shadowhunter books or Discworld or something like that. It's like no, we have this, we know this. We're not like we don't know, and we might in the future, maybe. Yeah. We only found this out like 6 years ago, so it's like okay,
crazy to think about, right?
But we literally just did the Chaos Dwarves. That's brand spanking new. So
we'll probably get more info on Chaos Dwarves as they go. I saw someone pointing out, and I didn't even think about it until someone pointed out that we know the leader of one of the great Chaos Dwarf cities and none of the others. Right?
Yeah.
Like that's another thing that we'll probably get more info as like stories get written and stuff of that nature. But yeah, so for our purposes today, we just have the 2 Tyrannic nations that we know anything about.
Okay. Do we have the names of the other 2?
Yes. Okay. We have their names. We just don't know what their bid is.
All right. Okay. That's better.
Yeah. So the first is Alumina. Alumnia. That's it. Aluminia. No. British joke. Alumnia. Tyrannic nation. This is the nation of trailblazers and explorers.
Cool.
Yes, this is your Indiana Jones around every corner. The actual land of Alumnia is vastly underdeveloped for Hessian nations, specifically because the people there prefer it that way. They enjoy that traveling between 2 cities is not a mundane affair where you are like taking a cart down a road. It is a expedition every time.
Oh God.
It helps protect them from chaos incursion.
Yeah.
Like they are uniquely skilled at navigating Alumnia, whereas like invading forces are just going to get lost in its jungles and stuff. And like I said, the adventure that brings, they see as important on both a like training level and on a philosophical level. There is value in the struggle of that. So, but even even those who like most love Alumnia rarely stay there for long.
Interesting. Okay.
Alumnian natives tend to grow up in it, master its jungles, learn all of its like pathfinding and trailblazing techniques, and then go out into the world to explore the other planes generally.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah. They find great value in pushing at boundaries and understanding. Lumineth as a whole are always going to be seeking enlightenment. And so even though the Teklian nations are the more bookish, that doesn't mean the Tyrannic nations are any less concerned with that like scholarly pursuit. It's just that they think that is a thing best practiced through action.
Oh,
right.
Okay.
And so Alumnian adventurers are never going out just to adventure. They're going out to find new creatures, find new places, learn more about the world, record all the findings, bring it back, give a presentation. This belongs in a museum. Indiana Jones around every corner. Yes, absolutely. Yeah, they think enlightenment must be derived from the whole picture. So focusing on just one thing is a mistake, right?
Yeah.
And that also leads to it, like, you'd very rarely have an Alumnian, like, specialized scholar. Like someone who just knows, like, oh, I spent 100 years learning all the like places in Gur. You're more likely to get someone who's like, okay, yeah, I did a 20-year expedition in Gur and then a 30-year expedition in Shaman and came back to Hish for a couple of years. And like, these are what I can surmise from the whole picture. This is what I've learned about how magic manifests in creatures and animals and plants and like how the biology of the realm is influenced by these different factors, right?
They just have wide scopes of like experience.
Yeah. Which is neat. I'm a big fan. Alumnian youth, it says, are literally raised on stories of Tyrion's adventures.
Oh, yeah.
In almost like a Greek hero style is
Okay.
the comparison that like I'm kind of getting, imagining like, you know, like young, like Greek like soldiers being told of like the trials of Heracles and the Argonauts and stuff. Like these are the kind of things that could potentially await you when you are mighty in the future, right?
Yeah.
And he's a god, but you know, you can still do cool stuff.
You can
right?
still do
like,
cool stuff, yeah.
This is your aspirational figure. The Greek heroes comparison gets even more explicit because the other thing that Alumnia is known for is holding the Olympics.
What? Of course. What? Where do they hold it? Like, where's the venue at?
They explicitly hold, it's called the Contest of Paragons.
Okay.
And they explicitly hold it on Zintil, which is where there's a substantial non-elf population. Because they want everybody to.
They want everybody to be a part of it. Okay.
It's not the World's Fair situation of Syar where it's like, oh, we want specialists and whatnot to come here and then we'll put them up for a couple of weeks and then we'll send them on their way. It's literally just like we're going to have a huge, like, in the Colosseum, everyone can come and watch, and those who don't watch can compete, and it's going to be elves and humans and dwarves and orcs and giants everyone who wants to.
That's pretty great.
Yeah.
I like that very much.
Absolutely. I'm a big fan. Big fan of the Contest of Paragons.
Contest of Paragons is a fun name for it, too. I like that.
It's really good. Alumnians always trying to like win in their events, obviously, because again, that's a huge prestigious thing. But yeah, that's all we have of Alumnia right now. There are trailblazing explorers, and they host the Olympics.
Cool.
Like,
I like that.
Big fan. And then the last nation that we know basically anything about is Helon, or Helon, maybe. Helon.
Man, I don't know.
Yeah, Helon.
Helon, sure.
Helon. If Alumnia is the like explorers and trailblazers who happen to host the Olympics, Helon is the. I'm just trying not to say it as Helen because we just talked about the Greek comparison. Helon is explicitly the land of competition and enlightenment through struggle.
Okay.
Yes. So the trailblazing exploring, it's like, ooh, widest possible swath. And the struggle is important because it trains you for what you're going to do. Helon is struggle itself is important. Struggle itself teaches you things about yourself to be a more complete person.
Okay.
So Helon is a desert.
Gross.
Yep.
I say that as if we don't live in a desert.
Yeah. Helon prides itself in competition, believing that through conflict, both parties come away sharper and emphasizing teamwork in their contests.
Interesting.
So that is a development post-Spirefall. Because again, the brutal individualism pre-Spirefall that the Lumineth kind of worked within has given way to a broad idea of like cooperation. And Helon has embraced that by making it so that none of their conflicts, none of their competitions, none of their things can be something that you can do alone. You're always working as part of a team, and you're working as part of a team not to dominate, but to help the other, like whoever you are competing against, also improve. Both stones sharpen each other, right? As opposed to the like broad Olympic games, their huge competition that they're known for are the great sky races.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Okay.
Helon has the biggest wind temples, the hurricane temples.
Okay.
And the Grand Sky Races are a collaboration between the racer and also their like whole preparatory team. So like the racer is usually a single individual. It's not like a lap or like a relay race, but there are no restrictions on what methodology they can use to compete in the sky race.
Okay.
And so in a single sky race, you will have expert like cavalry riders, experts in riding the wind chargers, the big like kangaroo creatures. You will have mechanical contrivances that fold out into wings. You will have trinkets and charms that like burst wind around the participant. Like just this kind of mad dash, like
very wacky racers vibe.
Yes, absolutely. Exhibiting both the skill of the racer themselves, but also the cleverness of the people who are preparing their equipment and forging it and like making it and guiding them through the race, because the race route isn't always like obvious. And so you need cartographers and like observers and scouts and stuff to properly do the race. Like I said, it's all, and there's an element of like, again, military trained to that. The whole of Hysh is militarized because the world is bad, right?
Because chaos demons.
Yeah, absolutely. And so all of that is emphasizing that without all parts of the team, like the team that wins is the one that had the most complete pieces do the best, right? Best racer in the world isn't finishing one of these races if their equipment breaks or their navigation goes wrong or any of these other things, right? They also, because Helon is the most tied into the Hurricane temples, it's also a collaboration between the racers, their teams, and the air spirits of Helon. again, you're never winning one of these races if your mechanical contravist like wing thing keeps hitting headwinds because the spirits don't like you.
Yeah, that would
right?
that wouldn't work.
And that is particularly relevant to the discussion of like Helon valuing competition and conflict, because the wind spirits of Helon are, quote, mean as shit. Not a real quote.
Quote from Dalton Montgomery.
Yes, quote from Dalton. Nowhere else in Hysh were wind spirits specifically more affected by the outcome of the Spirefall. They still hold extremely harsh grudges. They're less bound to locales, so it's harder to like meet them on their own like terms and work with them. And this is, in fact, why the Helonites seek to befriend them here. They are doing hard things for their benefit and for the benefit of the spirits, right? Like growth through conflict. So yes, Helon is mostly desert and like high savanna. Picture like an African like climate with the big like trees but they're like isolated in like the brush and whatnot. And it's punctuated by great floating what are called metalliths. So just imagine it's metal that's been infused with like air magic, so they just kind of bob. Sometimes they'll get chained down to a location just so it's a permanent locale. But Helonites like to train or build their like workshops and training grounds atop metalliths because it gets them close to the air spirits. It gives them good vantage over the realm or over the nation stuff. All that fun like preparatory stuff. Being high up is good.
Yes,
just generally.
It's like a cat.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's fun to be high up.
Helon's also regarded for its master archers. Their gameplay effect forever was that your archers are better if your army is from Helon.
That makes sense. Yeah, the wind one. Yeah.
Yep, wind competition, living high up, etc. Savannah. Like
everyone is a Hawkeye.
Yeah, it's harder to use a bow in a jungle, right?
Yeah.
Like, this is also the original plane of Severith, who's another one of our famous faces. He's our named wind spirit, and he is himself a mean as shit wind spirit.
Wow, fascinating.
So then we have technically 4 more nations to talk about, but they're all like very low information. Arathrai is another Tyrannic nation. Literally the only information we have about it is that there's a big river running through it.
Okay, so it's probably the river one then.
Yeah, it's probably like the origin of the Ydralan like river temples, or like very strongly connected to them, something of that nature. And even that we only know because there was like a short story set in it where some like orcs try and invade and they get to the river and the river spirits rise to like fight them.
Ooh,
so
yeah. Cool.
It's neat, but that's all we got.
Do the river spirits need masks?
Probably. Didn't get a good.
Yeah.
Not a lot of info. The other Tyrannic nation is Ultrai, and there's just nothing.
Oh, just the name. We have a name.
We have a name. That's it.
Okay.
I'll mention Hyaxia here. That's the Inhospitable Rim region. There's just rocks and unstable magic and nothing else. Like Tyrion went there and got too close to the edge and burned his eyes out. Like that's
he can't see.
That's what we got. Zintil. Like I said, Zintil is the only place with a permanent non-elf population on Hysh. It's the like big cosmopolitan center of the realm. It's where the magic is most stable. So that
are other races not allowed to live anywhere else, or is it just ill-advised because the magic?
It is implied that other races aren't allowed to live elsewhere in Hysh, and that is framed as this is where. So I've been saving like this conversation to when we talk about Zintil, because. I talked about a little bit at the top where doing the opposite of something does not always mean that you are like doing the opposite of a bad thing doesn't always mean that you are doing a wholly good thing.
Yeah.
And so in the way that the Lumineth have moved from a purely like individualistic like thing to a like, oh, wholly collaborative thing, that can be expressed, especially towards non-Lumineth in a very controlling way. And so Zintil broadly is an expression of that, right? Like this is the only place on our realm that we're going to let people who aren't with the program, like being Lumineth, live.
Yeah.
But also in more explicit ways where like we're not going to talk about it much this episode because it will be a center point during one of our cities episodes. Cities is going to be probably like 3 episodes because there's so much information about the cities of Sigmar. Yep. But one of the great cities of Sigmar is Settler's Gain. It's located on Zintil, and it is a like collaborative project between the Lumineth and Sigmar as both a like show of respect, like, oh, like the Lumineth are allowing like a human city, like a big flourishing human city, to be here in their sacred realm as a sign of like collaboration, and also as a like it's good to have like the whole gang together. It's good that we have like a permanent outpost here on Hish in case stuff goes wrong. We can rely on our allies to show up.
Yeah.
But the actual city of Settlers Gain, like I said, it's like Settlers Gain is hypothetically its own independent like city as part of the like broad cities of Sigmar, with its own like governing council. But in reality, everyone's just kind of aware that the Lumineth make the rules and set the laws and do all the stuff for like you can claim that you are doing stuff because you're an independent citizen of Settlers Gain, but if you break a Lumineth rule,
ooh, it's not going to be pretty.
Yeah, exactly. There is it feels wrong to even call it an implication because it's so close to being just like outright stated, but we don't know any of the mechanisms of it. The most common punishment for breaking one of those Lumineth rules is that they go, hey, don't worry, we're all friends here. Please come step into this big crystal. And then that person's gone for a couple of days, and then when they're let out of the big crystal, suddenly they don't want to do things that the Lumineth don't like anymore.
Oh Jesus!
Yeah.
Oh my God!
Yeah. So we don't know if it's like it's clearly some kind of like magical like reconditioning happening to the citizens of Settlers.
You could just kick them out,
right. But they don't want to do that. It's that almost like toxic like collectivism, where like no, you don't get it. Individualism is bad. And so we have no like philosophical qualms about putting you in the like re-education crystal.
The re-education,
so that you are better at collaborating. We're just gonna do a soft soft mind control on you so that you're better at collaborating because we, the Lumineth, who are very smart and good, have figured it out that individualism is bad.
You just need to see it our way.
Yeah, exactly. You got it in one. And so that's Zintil is a great encapsulation of how, because we talk about the other nations and all the other nations work pretty well. They're figuring out their stuff. They're doing like important work. They're doing a lot of great work in the fight against chaos. But it is a system that is working right now mostly because like non-Lumineth just aren't allowed in the other nations, right? It's everybody is operating off the same script, which we have words for that, right? Like we have implications of what it means when everyone has to do the thing and isn't allowed to stray from the thing.
Yeah.
And so Zintil being the one point of contention in that, Zintil hypothetically being the symbol of collaboration, of cooperation with the other peoples of order, while being this like big kind of sore spot almost for the Lumineth because it's the one thing that they don't have like good control over, leads to more tension there than you might expect otherwise, given the other like appearance of Hish. So as with most things I really like about Age of Sigmar, I like the look at the Lumineth post Spirefall because they have so clearly and so obviously taken a lesson to heart. Yeah. And they are doing so in such a way that they are doing an immense amount of good by taking that lesson to heart. But it's not like a cartoon like, ooh, I figured it out and now I'm good forever. Yeah. They're still able to fall into these pit traps of philosophy where they just end up still doing harm because doing good is a thing you have to maintain. It's a thing you have to constantly be grilling yourself about. Good is a thing
you do, not a thing you are.
Yes, absolutely. And
which I think is a quote from Ms. Marvel?
Probably.
Yeah, that's from the Ms. Marvel comics.
I think it's older than that. It's an old idea. But
sorry, that's where my brain is like, I'm like, wait, hold on. What's the pop culture reference I can be offering at this time? Yes, it's this one exactly.
Let's talk about our famous faces.
Okay.
Starting with the big man himself. You knew we were going to talk about him again. It's Teclis.
It's Teclis.
He's the guy.
He's here again.
One of the two guys.
Welcome back to the show, Teclis.
Yes. He's one of the two guys that we have information on because we just still kind of don't know what Tyrion's doing.
Jesus.
I'm gonna hand you the book real quick because that's good art of Teclis and his moon buddy. Teclis is in the foreground. He's got the big crescent moon on his hat.
Oh, yeah. We talked about his hat last time. And his moon buddy's in the background?
Yeah, Selenar's in the background. Selenar is a sphinx.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
That's tight as hell.
Right. the Great Moon Sphinx, and the God of Magic. So we talked about Teclis a lot in our
Looks like there's a mountain spirit behind him.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
Right.
He's got big pants.
Yeah.
Teclis, not the mountain spirit. I can't see the mountain spirit's pants.
I think the mountain spirit just has bare legs because it's carved of metal. Yeah. Fighting off a Slaneshi demon invasion.
Very cool.
In that art. Yeah. Big fan. So what's Teclis been up to since the Age of Myth, right? We talked about him a lot in the early days of the world, creating the Ideneth, creating the Lumineth, helping with the plan to trap Slanesh and draw souls, giving the Lumineth the Teclian ladder, just like, here, each of you individually could become perfect, and that'll solve all the world's problems. And then that going horribly wrong. But, so what's he done since that? So the broad thing that the Lumineth have undergone, the imagining of themselves and their moral philosophy and their stances and their approaches to stuff happened since the Spirefall, is in universe referred to as the re-injuvenation. It is the Lumineth refinding themselves as a grand commandment. We cannot continue to be the thing that we were. We must reinvent.
Okay. Good for them.
Or the reinvention. I think I said
You said rejuvenation.
Yeah, re-injuvenation. The reinvention, sorry.
That makes more sense, yes.
The name reinvention, I almost said it again. I almost said re-injuvenation. Re-injuvenation. The name reinvention, and indeed bury the lead a little bit, the commandment to do such a thing came down from Teclis.
This wasn't just them... The Lumineth as a collective being like, yo, we real fucked up and we got to figure this out. This came from Teclis being like, y'all, I real fucked up. We need to figure this out. But I don't think Teclis would ever actually say it that way.
I think it is a mix of both, because it is Teclis spearheaded the reinvention. He is the one who went to each of the great nations of Hysh and said this is the thing we have to do if we're going to continue to exist in any meaningful way. If we want the Lumineth to persist, we have to start again. We have to re-examine our biases and stuff. But I don't think that would have been a successful thing if the rest of the Lumineth weren't feeling that, right?
Okay, for sure.
Yeah,
they were all in the vibe of this is bad, what do we do?
Yes.
And Teclis rolled up and it was like, here's what we do.
Yes.
Which is his job.
Yeah. And specifically, he told them we have to reinvent, we have to reapproach the way that we approach come to the world, but he didn't tell them how.
Oh, yes. Okay. That's very different.
Yes. That's why all the nations kind of went in different directions, extensions of what they were doing beforehand, but now with a collaborative bent. And that's a sign of growth from Teclis, right?
It really is.
Yeah, right? That's why I think we start to see a more meditative, a more because Teclis wasn't particularly involved pre-Spirefall either, but he handed out the instruction list of here's here's everything you have to do in perfect order to become absolutely perfect, and then he fucked off, and now he's approach things your own way. I'm not omnipotent. I'm not omniscient. I don't have all the answers, and I know that collaboratively you will all come to correct answers if I am here to guide, if I am here to advise.
Okay.
Yeah, he I have in my notes, this is a term that's going to require some explaining. I said in my notes, he got bricked. The bubble that we're all born in, the idea that we are somehow uniquely in charge of our own lives and special in the universe, that we're protected from the bad things that can happen in the world around us. And more importantly, the idea that the world is inherently working, right? The things have been built with intention, and everything's broadly fine, and that the work of making the world function is not a continuing project, but a thing that is already pre-established. I see where we're going. Yeah, is a bubble that needs to be popped. Because that is a philosophy that will lead you only to rage eventually, as eventually you'll hit 30 and nothing will have popped your bubble yet, and you will start to view everything that tries to pop your bubble as a threat. Yes, that's kind of the core when you talk about someone who has not been able to move into kind of a more enlightened, or that even sounds pretentious, just a more realistic understanding of the functions of the world. A lot of conspiracy theorists kind of cling to their bubble. That's the core issue, is that you have just never experienced a situation that has led you to conclude that the world is complicated and hard, and it's a thing that we're constantly building together. And most of the bad things that happen in the world aren't the actions of any particular individual trying to do evil. It's just because
secret group.
Yeah, it's just because things are complicated and everyone's doing things that benefit them, and the ways you fix that are through systems that attempt to do good, not just burying your head and assuming that everything's already fine, right? Not to get too deep for
our silly game podcast.
Yeah, so that's the purpose of the brick, right?
Okay.
Is it teaches you, and a lot of people, quote unquote, get bricked long before they would ever need the brick, right?
Yeah.
Like that's kind of the point as well, right? Like anyone who's listening to this podcast who finds yourself as a member of a marginalized group, you've probably been bricked at one point.
Didn't actually need a literal brick. There are other things in the world that are not designed to look after you.
Yes.
That force you to realize, this is the way it is.
Yes.
It's individuals who the world is largely designed to look after you.
Yes.
That maybe don't realize that it's not designed to look after everybody. Or even, honestly, you specifically. Are you a billionaire? World's not designed for you, buddy.
The people who cling to their bubble are the ones who can afford to.
Exactly.
Who don't.
Real quick, if a billionaire, which I know they're not, but if you are, get fucked. Get bent.
Yeah, we're talking to you, Jeff.
Yeah, Jeff, Elon, get fucking wrecked.
So Mark.
Absolutely eat a brick.
So Techless.
Okay,
bricked.
you know what? Good job. You know what? I'm proud of him.
Yeah, he
now he's on probation and not just time out.
Yeah. And obviously, Techless had experienced like hardship in his life before, right? He was born disabled from the curse of Cain. He lived through the death of his world. But up until this point, he had been, like I said, it also shows growth from Techless's perspective, because up until this point, I think we can frame a lot of his worst behavior during the Age of Myth as an attempt for Techless to like take responsibility for the world.
Interesting. Okay.
I like to liken it to what we saw with Sigmar, where Sigmar experienced immense grief and experienced immense like self-doubt and like almost retracting from the world because of his like blaming himself for what happened to the world that was. And I think Techless woke up and said,
I didn't do enough.
Yeah, everything went wrong because I didn't do it perfectly, and this time
no,
I'll do it.
Don't make
perfectly.
Techless relatable. How fucking dare you? I can't believe. Oh no, everything got broken and it all got ruined because I wasn't perfect. Fuck off. How could you?
And I think that's supported by what we see afterwards, because he made the Techlian ladder. He's like, okay, this time I'm gonna do it absolutely perfect. Oh, the Idneth came out wrong. Like, can't like abide that.
Has to be perfect.
Like, has to be perfect. Has to be perfect. Has to be perfect. Oh, the like endless pursuit of perfection also resulted in a bad outcome. Maybe it's not all my fault. Maybe I am not solely responsible for the things that are bad in the world, and in fact, the way that we fix the world is collaboratively. It's
not like it's not even necessarily it's not my fault, because in this instance it is your fault, Techless.
Yes.
But it's like less that perhaps it's more like, maybe I don't have all the answers.
Yes.
Maybe I can't fix it.
Yes. The belief that if only you were to do like the thing more perfectly, it would all be fixed is arrogance.
Yes. It's arrogance. And it can be arrogance born of trauma.
Yeah.
It can be arrogance born of like crippling anxiety and fear of destruction, but still the idea that I can fix it all is arrogant.
It's not selfless. It's not you like taking the weight for, not to dip into Dalton's psyche for a minute.
Well, it's your turn.
Yeah. Yeah, it's not noble to try and take that burden entirely yourself, right? It's just arrogant. It's just making it so that when you eventually slip, because you will, because we're all human, things go wrong. And that, like I said, that's what we see in Techless. He takes a step, but he is more present, but is less controlling during the reinvention, where he is always there to offer guidance. He is always there to offer advice, but he is never there to offer like orders, never there to say like you have to do it this way. He just wants to be a source of wisdom for...
He's not a judge, he's a counselor.
Yes, he just wants to be a source of wisdom for the Lumineth going forward.
Interesting. Like a teacher.
Yeah. And part of that is coming from Selenar. We don't.
Oh, you have a good influence.
Yeah, I was gonna say we don't
That's
have.
the other thing. You can't do it alone.
Yeah.
Like all those things. You're like, I know this is a fucked up thing about me, and it's not good, but I can't. You can't. You probably can't fix it all by yourself.
No.
It's your responsibility to fix it. But like, if there aren't things that can assist you, even like one solid self-help book,
Yes.
or a therapist,
Yep.
or a friend who is willing to call you out on your bullshit.
Yes. And we don't have like a ton of stuff about Selenar. Selenar is intentionally alien. Selenar is a moon spirit, right? Like,
Yeah,
he does not operate.
Deeply unsettling moon spirit.
Yes.
And I do mean unsettling in an affectionate way. Like,
Yeah,
this is
yeah.
unsettling in a good way.
Yes.
Because clearly it is intentional. But also, I'm gonna close the book again.
Selenar, like the way Selenar thinks, the way Selenar moves throughout the world are just completely like foreign to Teclis.
Yeah, it's also important to have someone else who can present a completely different worldview.
Yes.
And being willing to listen to that different lived experience.
Yes. And so just the time like spent in like quiet meditation and contemplation and conversation with Selenar has helped Teclis to understand that like sometimes the thing you have to do is just to be like more open to learning more about the world, to taking like that collaborative effort and stuff. So like I said, we don't have like a ton of info about Selenar because he's intentionally left kind of mysterious and distant. But I like their relationship almost as a like it's almost an inversion of Teclis's thing where he's felt that weight of the world on himself for so long. Again, he killed Sigmar's god in the old world to bring his brother back to life.
Yep.
Like he has always put everything on himself, and so now not having to do that anymore.
That can
is
be
a
good too. It
fascinating-
sounds like
yes.
it sounds like honestly,
Yes,
sounds like it's growth.
it's good.
Yeah, that's growth.
Yeah.
We're happy to see it.
I think another part of that, I think the big like dam breaking point for that, because like habits are hard to break,
Yeah.
especially like that kind of psychological trauma of having to put everything on yourself can be tough to get away from. And I think we see that the most in the biggest like lore event that happened recently with Teclis, right, was the Necroquake and the invasion of Shaiish into Hysh.
Fuck off.
Yes.
That's so crazy.
Right.
You really thought?
Nagash led the forces of the dead into Hysh, an attempt to claim it.
For the magic?
Unclear. I think
For-
it's for magic stuff. I think it's just
Did he just want
Nagash.
to... I don't like the sun. I'm gonna...
I think Nagash already sees himself as having ownership over everything.
I would like... Okay,
And so
but
this
I would
was
like
just
to pitch,
the first step.
I would like to pitch Nagash singing Yzma's song from the original interpretation of Emperor's New Groove when it was Kingdom of a Song. It is called Snuff Out the Light, and it's about her wanting to destroy the sun.
Perfect, yes.
That was, to be clear, that movie would not have been good, but
No.
we were robbed of Yzma getting to sing, of Eartha
true.
Kitt, who there is a record of her singing this song. So we do have that at least.
Hell yeah.
Continue
Yeah.
on.
Nagash invades Hysh with the forces of death.
Mm-hmm.
The Lumineth go to meet him, culminates in a huge climactic battle between Nagash and
As it would.
Teclis.
Where's Tyrion?
Tyrion was also there, but he was leading the defense somewhere else potentially. Like
Okay.
you want to split your gods up, so yeah, it's
No,
not everyone
no,
at
I don't.
one.
Not when the other side also has a god.
Yeah,
I do feel like clearly it worked out and everything's fine, but like I don't know, man. If you've got two gods and the other side only has one god, then maybe you put both those gods against the one god.
I do not
I'm
know
sure, like,
specifically what
I'm sure
Tyrion was doing. I'm
Nagash's,
sure
like,
there's a
hench
justification.
people were
yeah,
off, and Tyrion was like leading the forces to deal with those. I'm sure he did
I
something. But...
believe that's what it was. Is that like there was also a huge incursion just like somewhere else in Hysh, and so Tyrion was like, "Okay, I'll fight on this flank if you want to take the other one." But again, we get a re-expression of our like big theme with Teclis's growth, in that Teclis goes to like classic mage duel Nagash, basically.
Wizard's
like
duel.
yeah, god of magic versus god of death, like big climactic finale, big magical blowout. And Nagash is vastly more powerful than Teclis.
Oh shit!
Nagash is the true god of death, and he's not splitting his power with anybody.
Oh, that's
like,
true.
yeah.
Like okay.
And like I said, it's Teclis taking it all onto himself. It's Teclis trying to fix everything on his own, use his mastery of magic to solve the problem when it was too big of a bite for him to take all by himself.
Jump.
And if that had been, like, if this was a conflict that had happened, like, pre-Spirefall or, like, like, Reinvention or something, Teclis would have died here.
Oh.
It was real bad. Nagash had him on the ropes, like, fully, like, using his mastery of death magic to, like, rip apart at his, like, divine, like, essence. When the mountains of Ymetrica and the hurricane spirits of the wind and all of the peoples of Hysh, including
Hysh itself showed up.
Hysh itself rises against Nagash, including the cohorts of Settlers Gain, the human, like, cogforts and, like, regiments, and the, like, dwarves who live in Settlers Gain, bring the airships around. Like, we just have a moment of Teclis trying to do it all himself, and that failing so badly that it almost cost him his life.
Oh shit, it's
and
on your
then
left.
being and then
It's Avengers Endgame.
being eventually pulled out of that and saved by the collaboration of the people of Hysh. The moral and, like, philosophical shift that he jump started and that he has led people to being, like, more collaborative together, coming back and paying him dividends when he himself hadn't quite, like, gotten it yet.
Yeah.
Right? And that rips. I'm a huge fan of that.
That's very good.
But yeah, that's what Teclis has been up to. He fought Nagash, he almost died. Hysh itself rose against the invasion of the Realm of Death, and he tossed Nagash into space. And we haven't seen Nagash in a minute, but he keeps, you know, like, grim portents of him keep popping up around Shaiish. A hooded man with only bones for a face spotted at the crossways, like, before vanishing into mist, right? Like, just Nagash's pure essence recoalescing on Shaiish, which is great.
For who?
Narrative.
Good answer. Show me narrative.
Ding. I have his name in my notes, even though I don't have anything to say about him. Tyrion. He's around.
We know he was there, not at that battle.
Yep.
But
he's around. He's blind. That's all we got.
he's got 4 nations that we have facts about. Half of them.
Yep.
That's so crazy.
Certainly a guy. And then we have a bunch of...
Hooray!
I'm going to start with the big fan favorites, because this is a character from the old world.
Oh, neat.
Yeah.
Okay. How? Well, that's a silly question. That's a silly, silly question.
That is the...
As if I haven't been here the whole time.
The how is part of the story in this case. He's back. Eltharion the Grim is an elven hero from the old world. He was the warden of Tor Yvres, one of the greatest defenders of the nation of Ulthuan, and he is a brooding, serious type.
Well, you did say it was like the Grim, so
yes. Eltharion the Grim is the, like, kind of spitting image of the... People like to call him, like, Elf Batman, where he's just a little, like, he cares deeply about a lot of things, and he's just, like, grumpy all the time, a little bit, right? That's how you get a title like the Grim.
Yep.
He also was willing to stray into some more dubious stuff, like he's the warden of Tor Yvres, which is the great fortress city on the eastern edge of Ulthuan, that has a reputation for, like, when invasions hit Ulthuan, Eltharion will take captives and then, like, interrogate them for more information.
Ooh,
there's a great
kind of
prison complex beneath the Temple of Tor Yvres that Eltharion alone has access to. That's also where the Batman comparison comes in. It's just got his big Eltharion cave. Eltharion died during the end times in a conflict against Arcan the Black. That's one of the Mortarchs. He's still around because he's Nagash's buddy. He was one of the original... He's the first disciple of Nagash back from when he was mortal. So Archon became undead at the same time Nagash did. But Eltharion, after he died, his soul was never claimed by Nagash or Slaanesh. Yeah. So that's it's a mix of factors. His soul was very badly damaged.
Slaanesh wanted to go like, no.
Yes, take them all. Eltharion's soul was pretty badly damaged in his fight with Archon. Necromantic magic can do that. Yeah. And Archon's better at it than most. But the tome seems to imply that his soul was damaged, so it's harder to get a grip on for either of the people who would want it. But he's also just really stubborn. it seems like it was a mix of factors. So his soul was like broken apart. It was shattered into its core essence, and then it was too stubborn to be claimed by either Nagash or Slaanesh. So it just existed in like the void of like the etheric void, like basically like shards of his soul floating in space, like in perpetuity. That lasts all the way from the death of the old world into the like creation of the mortal realms, through the age of myth and the age of chaos, into the age of Sigmar.
Into the age of Sigmar.
So during the age of Sigmar, during life, Altharion was friends with both Teclis and Tyrion. He was the warden of Torya of Rest. They would have moved in the same social circles, and they were all like committed to the defense of Ulthuan, from like prestigious noble families.
They all went to the same like war meetings together.
Absolutely.
They had the same war rooms together.
Yeah, and they were close, right? So Teclis was a friend. He remembered Eltharion's sacrifice to defend Ulthuan during the end times. And so when they first started pulling souls out of Slaanesh, he was looking for any trace of Eltharion to see if he could do something to like, if not like bring Eltharion back as he was, like make sure that his soul wasn't too particularly like damaged, whatever he could do, right? He couldn't find it, right? Because it wasn't there. And so later he spends a long time in contemplation with Selenar, basically like figuring out what happened. If he can't find it in like Shyish and he can't find it in Slaanesh, then it just has to be out there somewhere.
Yeah.
So with Selenar's help, he eventually finds like a shard of Eltharion's soul. It's not enough to like do anything with. It's not enough to like bring him back with. But he spends like a huge chunk of the Age of Sigmar leading up to like the Necroquake and like the whole like thing that the Lumineth are doing, just like with Selenar, finding pieces of Altharion's soul and just like pulling them back like onto Hysh, like collecting all the shattered pieces of Altharion.
That's cool as hell.
Yeah, right? So Teclis gets all the shards of Altharion back, and he says, okay, we can't just put his soul back together and then like let it go, because it'll go to Shyish. Like Shyish will just pull on it. And so I'm going to get with Alathia.
Okay.
And we're going to build like Altharion a new body, basically. But Teclis isn't a necromancer. He gets like the Zytreki, like people who study necromancy, to come help. But this is a wholly different, like this is untapped territory, like putting a soul into like a new body, like And so they try stuff, they experiment, etc., etc. Alathia basically creates like a simulacra of no one. Like they just make, they use the same like base procedure, but don't pour, like they base it off of like no one basically, and just like leave it empty for soul to be put into it. And that works. The like impurities in the magic and the incompatibility of like the host body rejects it basically. But instead of that just like loosing the soul free, what ends up happening is that they'd already like Teclis had commissioned Sayar to make replicas of Altharion's old armor and his like sword that he fought with in life.
Is this a Full Metal Alchemist?
Yeah.
I legit, when I looked at him, I'm like, he looks like he's just armor. Like,
yes.
I'm not seeing, like, because it's not. I'm looking more closely now. There's not a guy there.
Yeah.
It is just the armor.
Yes. Altharion's soul.
I was literally clocked like, oh, it's kind of weird that we don't really see the dude's face, because even with this other guy on this next page, you can see their face.
Yeah.
Because
he doesn't have one.
Incredible. Wow. What a good model, though.
Right. It's got some great detailing in it there, where you can see where like the arms don't quite connect. They're being held up by like other parts of it and stuff.
Yeah, and, like his legs, there's not a leg there.
Yeah.
Like, I saw it without registering it.
Yeah.
That's so good.
So Altharion's soul burns away the like simulacra body. It's just too potent for it. And his soul bonds to the armor instead.
Was the body in the armor?
Yeah. Yeah, they intended for him to just like wake up and like hooray, like ceremonial, like
that's fucking crazy.
Yeah, correct.
It'd be like if in Captain America when they thaw him out of the ice and then they're like, okay, quick, put him back in his. But he was actually Steve Rogers was in his outfit at the end of First Avenger because he was on. They were in combat and they took it out and it was in like pajamas because he was supposed to be in a hospital. And it was Teclis. Whatever, it worked out.
Yeah, it worked out. Altharian's soul now inhabits his armor. He's referred to as the Light of Altharian because his soul glows bright with the magic of Hysh.
Of course.
That's what Teclis was able to do because he's not a necromancer. He just infused it with a bunch of light magic to like keep his soul stable, and that helped him like bond to the armor as well. So he is a shining beacon of like the durability of like the elven people.
That's rad as hell.
He travels the land. He doesn't need sleep or food or anything, so he like travels between the great nations of Hysh, like aiding them where he can and like leading the military like defense and whatnot, fulfilling a very similar role to when he was the Warden of Tori of Rest. And during the Necroquake, he tracked down Archon the Black and threw him off Hysh too.
Hell yeah! As you would.
As you would. But yeah, the Light of Altharian's rad. His model's great. I've seen so many people put like LEDs inside the model so they can turn it on and have him glow. Yeah. Which rips. I'm a big fan.
Very cool.
He's an absolute menace in game right now. You can, if he dies in combat, you can cast a spell to bring him back.
Of course you can.
Because, he's just magically bonded to his armor. Like, absolutely.
That's tight.
I'm going to skip past my next entry to talk about the guy you already have the page open to, because that makes it easy. That's Lyrior Uthrail. I should have practiced more of these names before recording.
Me too. Everything I've ever recorded in my whole life. I love this. I love the colors.
Yeah.
And these little details.
Yeah.
And it's just, tell me more about this guy, because they're very cool. And on the back of like a majestic goat wolf.
Yeah. That's one of those like big windstrider creatures, the kind of kangaroo adjacent like horse things.
Oh, okay.
Though he is not of the Hurricane temples.
I was about to say, so he must be, and that would have been a wrong statement. Go on.
This man, the thing you need to know about Lyrior is that he is very sad.
Oh. Why he's so sad?
It is this defining thing. So he's second in command to Tyrion. Okay. He's part of, Tyrion has a council of 10 like high-ranking generals that help him make decisions. That's one of the few things we know about him. And Lyrior is the highest ranking of those 10 generals.
Okay.
His station is also as the mouthpiece of Tyrion.
Okay.
So whatever Tyrion's doing, it means he doesn't have a lot of time for like discussion, like meetings and stuff like that. And so Tyrion is noteworthy as being the only mortal who can contest Teclis in public.
Oh, you mean Lyrior?
Lyrior, yes.
Okay.
Like if there's and Teclis is broadly more open to new ideas and stuff now than he used to be. But Lyrior's almost job is to be the like devil's advocate in discussions where Teclis is present, because he's still like the god of magic. If there's like a big discussion and Teclis says something, people are going to tend to like, oh yeah, that seems like a good idea.
Do what Teclis says.
Yeah. And Lyrior's job is a little bit to like represent Tyrion's interests and also like be Teclis's brother by proxy, where he just goes, hey nerd, like have you thought about
this thing?
Sports? Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But what if this?
But what if this? Yeah. So the reason he's sad. So early on in his military career, he had to make a hard decision. He's originally from Ymetrica, and Ymetrica was under siege by a invasion of ghouls from the Summer Court. Yeah.
No good.
Pushing into Hysh, and that's always like a huge like because they can convert cities, they can like turn people through the delusion. You want to deal with the ghoul infestation as fast as possible.
This is fucking plague.
Yes. While orcs were also coming in through like different realm gates.
Oh god damn it.
Yes. So he had to make a difficult decision about where to direct his forces. He only had so many men. He rode with his forces to stop the ghoul invasion because it was also like a more strategically important city. He was putting his duty to his nation. He was that post like Spirefall thing above his duty to himself, because the other place was his hometown.
Damn.
Less strategically important, less populated, less justifiable for him to direct his forces to defend. The thing that you're expecting happened. He successfully pushed the ghoul invasion back through the like gate out of Hysh. And when he turned his forces to go like liberate his hometown, he got there and it had been destroyed. Absolutely. People dead, houses like obliterated, just nothing to find. He's been racked with grief ever since. That's his like defining thing. And he is living this kind of unhealthy double life, where this is another expression of that like toxic collaborativeness can also be like harmful
Mhm.
because he still clings so thoroughly to the idea that he did the right thing, which probably he saved more lives doing what he did, even though it was at great personal cost, and that he has to continue to like put the needs of the many above the needs of like himself going forward. How that manifests is that he performs all of his duties as the right hand of Tyrion. He shows to the meetings, he leads the assaults, he goes into battle, he does all of the things that he has to do in public with the like spirited resolve of someone who is expected to be a stalwart leader in times of trouble. And then he goes home and he breaks down every night, just
no good,
completely racked with grief, like lets the mask slip as soon as he's alone, like cannot like real rough. Like I said, grief he doesn't let show, full on bottled up in public, and then nights spent wailing in his chambers. He has
this is what therapy is for.
Yes,
you need to talk to someone, my man.
My last note on him just says go to therapy.
You need to talk to someone, my guy.
Instead, he has opted to the worse version of that. So there is a caste of Hessian mages, Lumineth mages called Cathalars, who specialize in the manipulation of emotion.
Oh, shit. That is the worst version of that. I just thought like drinking.
Yep. He has 3 Cathalar attendants sworn to secrecy on punishment of death, who attend him in his chambers every night and magically like suppress his grief.
Bro, this is why it's so bad.
Yeah, it's the bad version of the thing that Tiffany won't do in the like witches books.
Yeah.
I can't take it from you, and even if I could, I wouldn't.
Yeah.
Like, it's your pain to bear. He's getting worse because that's not dealing with the problem.
That's not dealing with the problem.
There's people will report because it's one of those things where like he's keeping up the appearance in public as hard as possible, but like people in the know.
Yeah.
Right? Because this has been going on for a while.
Yeah.
Like it's not an easy thing to suppress, and so people report like him getting so mad and like the emotional magic needed not being enough, and him like screaming and like dismissing the Cathalars because it's not working, like in fury, only to have them like resummon back an hour later because he just can't handle the grief alone anymore. Right? Like, dude's breaking down. Go to therapy. Like that's all I got.
I think we need to replace all of those magicians with therapists.
Yep. Just you gotta work through it, but I'm sorry.
That's rough.
So the next characters we're going to talk about them as a pair because they're
a pair.
Yep. Is Alania and Elathor. Alania and Elithor, the twins of Elathia.
Cool.
They are, to our knowledge, real twins, not clones.
Oh,
yeah,
you know what?
That's
I did for half a second forget that is an option here.
Yes, that's always I suspect that is a thing that they are keeping in the back pocket that's meant to be like a big impactful reveal at some point. But as of right now, they're real twins.
Okay. As far as we can tell.
It would also be a really neat, I think if it does turn out that one of them is a simulacrum, I think that would be neat because they're a brother and sister. And that would,
I was going to say,
yeah,
like,
and that would express that a simulacrum could have a different gender identity than its core person. And I think that's neat.
Yeah.
So they are twins born of Elathia with incredible potential. Alania is a master of the mystic arts and a champion of the symposium, the like grand debate halls of Zytrek.
Yeah, they got a cool staff.
Yeah. And Elithor spends all of his free time triumphing in the Venari arena.
And
triumphing
he's got a big old sword.
Yep, triumphing is the word the book uses.
Triumphing, yeah.
He's just real good at it. The two of them showed great potential from a young age. This caught the attention of Teclis, who saw in them reflections of himself and Tyrion, another pair of elvish twins with great potential. Yep. And also, this is part of like Tyrion's arc, has aspirations for the Lumineth eventually having leaders in their own people to where they are not constantly looking to the gods for aid.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Tyrion imagines a world where, or Teclis imagines a world where he and Tyrion are able to act more as gods, where they are not attending all these symposium debates and the grand strategy meetings and stuff, but are able to offer guidance from afar.
Yeah.
Which is good. Like self-sufficiency, collaboration. The Lumineth like build each other up instead of just needing God at their back. That's Teclis' ambition. People are worried about the twins, though. Natural talent is seen as a like gateway to perfectionism. So People are often eyed with suspicion when they achieve too much too quickly. It can also be a sign that you're working with like chaos forces.
Oh, no good. Yep.
And so people are deeply skeptical of them. And so Teclis and Tyrion come up with a plan to both sate the like political forces in Hysh regarding the twins and train them for this potential like taking over as like leaders of the Lumineth people. The twins are anointed as the Eclipsean War Sages.
Ooh, is it because sun and moon?
Yep.
Nice.
And they are charged with traveling Hysh and beyond, aiding the Lumineth as 1 part training for them for the mantle of leadership, and 3 parts encouraging them to find valuable goals beyond ambition. Yes, because that's important, right? They got some cool gifts for that. They're magical items. Alania was given the staff Dianier.
Ooh.
Yeah. It has a head made of realmstone. It doesn't say what kind of realmstone, but I'm assuming aether quartz.
It's got to be, right?
Yeah,
'Cause
right.
Why wouldn't it be
Right.
the realmstone of Hysh?
Yeah.
That'd be so weird if it wasn't. Because if it wasn't, I feel like they would specifically say that.
Yeah, right.
Because that would be a very specific and interesting choice that you'd have to be like elaborate on. If you're not going to like mention it, then it's okay.
Yeah. They also don't expand on what this means, but it can, quote, capture the light of pure potential.
Okay, so it's got to be a Hysh thing.
Yeah, it's got to be a Hysh thing, but again, I don't really know what it does.
What does that mean? I don't know, but okay.
She also has a bird friend.
I've been looking at this bird, this owl. Moonbright Talons?
Yeah.
I've got the book in my hand, and I see
Yeah.
under melee weapons, the staff was just named. I'm like, oh, that must be the name of the owl, because it can't be the name of the sword!
Owl's name is Athean.
Oh, that makes more
Athean?
sense.
Yeah.
And is the weapon just its talons?
Yeah.
Athene?
Probably Athene. Yeah. Atheane.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is Athena.
Yeah. Wisdom. Yeah. Moon.
And it's armored with moonbright talons. Okay, that's
and
cool as hell.
and the staff is called Dianier.
Yep.
So yeah,
Just
moon.
yeah.
Elthor has a sword made entirely of aether quartz.
Cool.
Yeah.
And that one said specifically?
Yes.
Okay.
Tyrion gave it to him as a test of his own ambition and ability to master a complex problem. Because
What does that mean?
Aether quartz is volatile. It doesn't make a good weapon. And remember, it captures negative emotion and like becomes like a source of like radiating those negative emotions back out if you let it. So Tyrion gave him the aether quartz sword because it's a very powerful weapon, but also because if he's not careful with the like negative emotion he's pouring into it, it'll come back to bite him.
Ooh.
Which is where Dalton is going to take the opportunity to remind everyone in the audience that Tyrion suffers from the wrath of Cain.
Yeah.
Right? His thing always was that he was like the poster boy star quarterback who had to struggle with his like supernaturally imposed rage. And I think that's a neat like similarity where he's like, here's a test that I know is valuable to you.
Yeah.
There's a lesson I can teach you that I know the value of. Right.
Nice. Okay, cool.
Yeah. I like the twins.
Yeah, they're really neat.
Yeah. They're the ones who's recovered the ashes of the Ur Phoenix.
Oh, wow.
From that city that got destroyed. Which is also cool. But yeah, they're around. They're chilling. They're on their grand journey. They show up to fights sometimes to help. And that's how they end up in armies. Like, they don't owe allegiance to any one nation anymore.
They just will be there. Yeah. Cool.
And then our last 2 famous faces. I told you there was a bunch of them. That's Avalinor, the Stoneheart King.
Very cool. I like that name.
He is the biggest and oldest of all the mountain spirits. He's embodiment of the oldest mountain on Hysh. Avalinor is also what the mountain is called because he's just Avalinor. He's the spirit of Avalinor.
Yep.
Hysh, it's a mountain located in Ymetrica, obviously, because that's the big mountain nation. And he was the first mountain spirit to walk the world as a war construct. So he gave the Lumineth the idea of carving those big like war constructs for the mountain spirits to inhabit. Though he didn't do it, wasn't like he was like, hey, here's an idea. It's that during a time of great crisis, Selenar went to Avalinor and asked him to help. And Avalinor carved his own out of his own like form.
That's tight as hell.
Yeah. No one, the quote in the book is, no one can recall who carved his form. He simply shaped the mountain himself, so deep is his power. Emerged from the like mists around the base of the mountain.
Shit, that's so cool.
Right? He's described as wise beyond measure, presiding over all the happenings of Ymetrica and offering lessons and blessings to its people. He tends to inhabit his war form even outside of times of war, where he'll like travel to the great cities of Ymetrica and like offer guidance and like wisdom. He's really like integrated into the culture of Ymetrica. He's like their great kind of shining like example. Many great sages, princes, and leaders owe their station to Avalinor's wisdom and blessing.
Ooh.
So not just like they learned Avalinor's lessons and that allowed them to navigate the world, but sometimes he will just be like, this one's a good egg. And now they're like important. Yeah.
Yep. They just got elevated real quick.
Right.
Because the mountain spirit likes you. And that's
Yes.
a pretty good, like...
It's a real good reason.
Mark of approval, yeah.
Fought during the Necroquake, as did most like important figures. Nagash destroyed his war form. Yeah. It was a huge like blow during the war. Ymetrica mourned for like Avalinor's form back on the home turf. Because he like his war form was destroyed. And his mask was the only part of it that remained, and it was lost behind enemy lines. Like Death's forces pushed forward. Like the nation of Ymetrica like mourned him for months because they couldn't recover his mask. There was no like they couldn't hear his voice from the mountain anymore. But during the end of the conflict, during that like when Teclis was on the ropes and like all of Hysh rose against Nagash, Avalinor reemerged from the mists.
Holy shit!
Yeah.
Fuck yeah!
Striding to the front lines to aid in putting down the great necromancer. He just like grabbed Nagash's like physical body to hold him down so that the rest of Hysh could fight him. Like
that's so cool.
Fucking speared from the top ropes by the mountain spirit. Yeah.
It's a Valinor with a steel chair.
Yeah, absolutely rips. So reemerged in a heroic moment, but ever since he's been a little bit different. It's a little like he clearly suffered some deeper like wounds from that. He
maybe didn't fully heal and recover before he had to come back out.
Absolutely. He's silent for long periods now, where he'll just like be inhabiting his war form, but it will like be sitting along the mountainside, staring out into space, just completely silent to the people around him. He talks in ancient languages sometimes, like seemingly just kind of to himself. Like Avalinor's was old when the world was young, like he's been here for the whole time.
He's the mountain.
He's the mountain. So there's like it's unclear how much of it is because again he was old when the world was young, and he spends a lot of time in his war spirit. It's unclear how much is the damage from Nagash. It's unclear how much like we don't know how long a spirit should like stay
Maybe
outside of their mountain.
Buddy.
Yeah, like or if it is just age. Like
he's
just been around for a long time. But either way, he's kind of chilling more nowadays, just being around.
That's cool.
Also, it's not as emotionally impactful, but the last cool thing I have from my notes is that when he hits things with his hammer, they feel all of the cold of the mountain peak. So
what the fuck? What a way to frame that.
Right?
Nice.
Rips. And then our last famous face, long episode, but I knew it was going to be. We talked about all the nations and then like 8 famous people in Lumineth.
Yeah.
Severith, Lord of the Seventh Wind.
Tight.
Yeah. As the name implies, most wind spirits don't take names or they are very ephemeral, but there are 7 great winds, each of whom have an extremely powerful and like noble spirit associated with them. Those wind spirits are too like powerful and noble to ever bind themselves to a single Lumineth, so you'd never see like the wind mages who will travel with like a spirit that's like bonded to them and they're like buddies. You'd never get that from a great spirit. They're too free, they're too like noble to ever do such a thing, but they will like arrive to help the Lumineth in times of need if they've been properly like appeased and honored and like healed. The Hurricane Temples tend to appease the great wind spirits from a distance. They ask nothing of them, and they just know that in times of great need, maybe like the great like Lord wind spirits will arrive to aid them, right?
Yeah.
A very distant relationship with these ones. Severith is the spirit of the wind that blows across the great perimeter. The deserts of Helon, but also the edges of the realm out in Hyaxia, the like uninhabited, just wastes and nothing. Severith represents grand, like unrestricted movement, right? Fully free from, he's not darting between trees or pushing through mountains. He's just going.
Mm-hmm.
Truly like the wind spirit, most embodying like the freedom and openness of the wind,
Nice.
which makes the thing that happened to him during the Age of Chaos especially bad.
Oh, shit.
During the Age of Chaos, he was lured by Slaaneshi cultists to Hyaxia, where they managed through arcane trickery to bind him there. They literally trapped his wind like in a cave and just like sealed it off.
Oh, shit.
So he was bound in a small space. He could not freely move, and he was left like that into the Age of Sigmar, where he was eventually found by the Hurricane Temples and released.
Yeah. Oh, shit.
Yes. Really bad. Lumineth freed him later, but in that time he had become wholly obsessed with enacting his vengeance.
Of course.
When I say Sevireth is also like a mean as shit wind spirit, like there's no great wisdom to be offered. There's no like lessons to be taught. There's no like noble, like I view the other like great winds almost as the forest god from Mononoke.
Yeah.
Where it's like this kind of like almost unknowable, but like noble and like respected thing from which like wisdom can be gleaned. Sevireth is just a mean like
force
nightmare. Absolutely.
The description says that he is the searing wrath of the desert wind come to life. Which tight.
Sevireth isn't chill. He doesn't hang out at temples. He doesn't play tricks or teach lessons. He darts across Tish, obliterating his enemies in razor blade like sandstorms.
Yep. As you would.
Yes. For the indignity of being a wind spirit kept from motion.
Yeah.
He is still just enacting his vengeance on, and this has been going on for years, ever since he was let free.
Yeah.
Just a constant reenacting of his vengeance on anyone even remotely associated with what happened to him, basically. A few Lumineth can claim to have talked to Sevireth, either catching him in the moments after a battle or like during a battle. Yeah, either because they sought knowledge or to prove themselves. Like it's a pretty common thing of the like wind mages of Helon to try and talk to Sevireth because it's seen as like the big insurmountable thing, and that's the challenging ourselves like nation. Only to report that he will only even acknowledge the extremely skilled, and even then tends to respond with 1 or 2 word answers.
Yeah.
So if you
not gonna have a conversation.
No. If you proved yourself like incredibly in this battle and took out a ton of chaos warriors and whatnot, then Sevireth might acknowledge you and like tell you that you're doing good work, and then he is halfway across the continent to the next like outcropping. Yep. Even the other wind spirits don't like Sevireth.
He sounds like he's hard to get along with.
Yes. They specifically they see him as tragic, but that they don't want to spend time with him. They look out upon him and see the thing they could become if they were subjected to something similar, right?
Oh, that fear of that's in me too.
Yes. Yeah. Because they're playful, they're trickstery, and they look upon Sevireth and they see him not being clever, not playing pranks, but just
like having no joy.
Yes, just using the full might of what he's capable of in a very blunt way. And they don't like that that's also a thing in them.
Yeah.
So yeah, Sevireth doesn't really fight with the Lumineth. He just tends to show up places and obliterate stuff.
Yeah.
But yeah, he's a little bit one note, but I like him as, like I said, an expression of what all the different like spirits can contain and the risks of like not treating the spirits with respect. So yeah, Sevireth exists as like kind of an interesting reminder of the thing that's at stake, right? Like this is a thing that if it can happen to one of the most noble and like powerful wind spirits, it could happen to any of them if we aren't dutiful about our like protection of these spirits, if we aren't constant in our protection of Hish.
Nice.
And also he's just super fucking cool.
He's really cool. I'm super into these like you said, like antelope, goat, kangaroo foxes. They're very cool.
Yeah. Just the sprinting, searing wind.
Yeah.
I just like desert aesthetics. Like so I'm a big fan of Sevireth the Desert Wind.
Didn't know this about you.
Yeah, I think it's neat.
Cool.
But that is finally all of our. It's another long episode for y'all, but I knew it was going to be
plenty of time to paint or drive, commute, or do dishes.
Yeah, man. I was gonna say, have us on in the background while you're folding your laundry.
Yeah, can you imagine just doing that in silence? We're glad we could be here for you for that.
Yes, absolutely.
We know most of you nerds are painting. We understand that's what we're for.
That's what I do podcasts for. So that is the Lumineth Realm Lords. We talked about all of our famous faces, all of our great nations, and they're neat. I'm a big fan of the Lumineth. I like them specifically, like I said, as a contrast of okay, we fucked up, now what? Right?
Yeah.
Like, I think that's a
yeah.
more
I
interesting, more interesting question than like we're in the process of fucking up or we have not fucked up. Like, I think,
Or it's like, oh no, we fucked up and there's no coming back from that. Now we just live in like post-apocalypse forever.
Right. It's very like Full Metal Alchemist, right? Because that show is about, oh no, like we did a horrible thing, now what? Because you can't just dwell in your like sadness.
Everything moves forward, and you have to move forward. You can choose not to, and it sounds like you're going to be the one guy who's deeply, deeply sad.
Yep.
And that's a problem.
Poor Lyrior.
Yep.
But that is our episode on Lumineth. We're so happy to be back for y'all. I know this is the second episode since we came back, but it is part of one dual episode.
Yeah.
So super happy to be back with y'all. Next episode is going to be a little bit different. I'm looking forward to it. I have a copy of the rulebook, which also contains some narrative elements from Darkwater, Warhammer Quest Darkwater, which will have come out like 2 months ago when you're hearing this episode, but that's fine. Narrative, like board game set in Guyran around the old like Darkwater Temple, which I'm very excited about. We got some cool characters to talk about with that. That episode will, just be a revisitation of Guyran, taking a look at Guyran more into the modern day since our initial Age of Myth like preview, and also a re-examination of the forces of Nurgle. All this coincides in gameplay terms with Nurgle having just received a nice range expansion.
Ooh,
so we got some new models and stuff.
Fun.
For Nurgle and like new named characters. Gellis Pust is is our big named character from the Darkwater. He's a demon prince of Nurgle, and we're going to talk about him a lot because he's important and bad. He's the Prince of Sores.
I could have guessed that.
Yeah.
Really? Is he? Wow, what a twist.
So look forward to that episode. I'm very excited. It's a little bit off format of what we've done in the past. Not talking about like one specific thing, but I think it's going to be really interested. I'm excited for that. And then after that, Finally, I think
we're doing it.
We're doing it. We're going to do after that. Look forward to the first of probably 3 episodes, if I had to guess, on the cities of Sigmar, our big, our quote unquote normal person faction in Age of Sigmar.
Let's go.
We'll be talking about like probably structurally similar to these past 2 episodes. We'll talk about like the big picture stuff. We'll talk about the individual cities, but there's like 18 of them, so like that itself might be like 2 episodes.
Let's
and then
go.
we'll have our like our famous faces and some recent lore events and stuff. The Dawnbringer Crusades is what led us into 4th edition.
A good name.
Yeah, and talking about like Talia Vedra, one of my favorite Warhammer characters, and all that good stuff. But that's all coming up. We're super looking forward to having it to share with y'all. And thank you so much for listening. Coming into the new year, coming into 2026.
Let's go.
And wish Darian happy birthday.
It's still my birthday. I'm still counting it. And I was dead serious about wanting to see your minis.
Yes, please.
Especially if they're purple, because that is my favorite color.
Hell yeah, me too. That's why we're friends. No, that's a,
that's a happy coincidence.
Yeah. But until next time, I have been, as always, your Sayari craftsman, Dalton Montgomery.
And I'm Darian Smart, and I turned 32 this year.
Take care.
Bye.